Dear viewers, in this video I am going to talk about the physical quantity vector and scalar. So what is this scalar and vector quantity? Based on magnitude and some physical quantity which require both magnitude and direction, there are two kind of the quantity. First is a scalar quantity and another is a vector quantity. A scalar quantity are those quantity which have only magnitude. They don't require direction to define it. For example, distance, how much anything has been traveled, it does not depend on the direction. Similar thing goes for speed, mass, time, and there are others like temperature. Now what are vector quantities? Vector quantities are those physical quantity which have magnitude as well as direction. For example, displacement, velocity, weight, acceleration, force, and there are several other which I have not mentioned here, such as momentum. And when you multiply with some quantity with vector, that quantity also become further vector quantity. So let's talk about some of the in this list. For example, what is the difference between the distance and the displacement? So these are the key points which I have just summarized here. As I told you, distance is a scalar quantity, so it don't depend on direction. So what is the definition? Total length covered by moving object regardless of direction. Now what is displacement? Displacement is a specified direction. So wherever you are moving, direction is defined. Whether you're going left, you're going right, you're going up, you're going down, everything is a particular direction. And in distance, it does not care where, whatever you have distance travel, you're taking circular multiple paths, you can go on all of them. However, for displacement, it's not true. It is very specified direction. The unit is same because this is a kind of the length, how much it is travel. The important thing that this distance, if something is moving, it cannot be zero. However, displacement can be zero if the final and initial position are in the same. So what is the formula of distance? The total path traveled by a moving object. And displacement, the final position minus initial position will give you the displacement formula. Now let's take some of the example. So if you look this question, okay, what is telling you? A car travels 5 meter due east and makes U-turn to travel another 3 meter. What is the distance covered? Just now I told you what is the distance formula. Distance is total distance traveled by a moving object. Total path or total length traveled. So how much it is traveled here? If you look from this picture, they are just saying you that it is 5 meter due east and 3 meters, so it's just 5 plus 3 is equal to 8 kilometer. Now let's talk about the second part, which is the displacement. As I told you, displacement is very well defined with the magnitude and direction. So here conventionally we always consider that this direction is a positive direction, like how we write in the math, and this direction is a negative direction. Similarly, towards y positive it is a positive, and towards negative this is the negative direction. So if you look this question, the starting point is will be this point here. Okay, so if you're going 5 kilometers, it will be plus 5, and what is this? Minus 3. So total you have 2 kilometer you have traveled. Okay, so because it is traveled plus 2 kilometer, it means your displacement is towards east 2 kilometer. So this is a simple example to understand you about displacement and distance. Now let's talk about some other example with the what happen if you're traveling in the circle. Suppose if a bicycle or a person is traveling from point A to point B. So if this radius is R, and if I would ask you that if the boy is traveling from point A to point B in a circle, if you know the radius, what it will be the radius? What it will be the distance traveled, and what will be the displacement? Pause the video and think about it and let me know. I hope you got the answer. So as I told you, distance is total travel. So boy is moving from point A to point B. It means you have to consider this part, which is 1/4 of the circumference of this circle, which is nothing but 2 pi r. So it will be basically pi r divided by 2. Now if you know the r, you can figure out this value. Now what will be the displacement? Displacement is the shortest distance between the two positions. So this is your final position, this is the initial position. So how to get that? You connect this part, make a triangle and figure out what is the shortest this part. So now this is, suppose if this is the x square will be your r square plus r square, so it will be your 2r square. So basically x will be r root 2. So if you know the r, you can figure out what is the displacement, what is the distance based on this. Always remember, displacement cannot be more than distance, cannot. Maximum it can be equal, but it cannot be more than that. So I hope this is clear to understand about these two vector and scalar quantity. Let's talk about the next, which is the speed and velocity. So what is the speed? Speed is a scalar quantity. What is the definition? Distance upon time. Since distance is a scalar quantity, if you divide it, you will get a scalar quantity. So again, it cannot be 0, because if something is moving, there should be some distance. Now velocity, it is displacement upon time. It is a vector quantity, so it can be 0 if displacement is 0. Let's talk about this question. Usha swims 90-meter long pool. She covers 180 meter in 1 minute by swimming from one end to another and back the same straight path. Find the average speed and average velocity of the Usha. Okay, now there is another concept, is average speed, which I thought I'll make a separate video, but let's talk about here itself. So average speed is nothing but total distance traveled by total time. So if you look from this picture, if this is a kind of, you imagine this is the swimming pool which is a 90-meter long, so you're going 180 meter considering going and coming back, so total is 180 meter. How much time? Always remember, when you solve the problem, always solve in SI unit. Okay, so since the time is given you in a minute, 1 minute, so convert in second, so it will be your 3 meter per second. This is the speed. Now what is the average displacement? Average velocity. So average velocity is basically total displacement by total time. So total displacement, okay, so the person has started from, suppose A, it has gone 90 meter here and then come back again to the same position. So if you look the final and initial position, the person has same. So whenever the person take U-turn or the moving body take U-turn, always remember displacement will be always 0. So whatever time doesn't matter, your velocity will be always 0. So I hope this is a simple explanation. You can figure out how to calculate the velocity and the speed and how they are different. As you can see, with direction they are completely different quantities. Now next about the mass and weight. So what are the difference? What is mass? Mass is basically amount of matter, which is a scalar quantity. It is not going to change. Whatever content we have, it is responsible for that weighing. Now what is this? Now what is the weight? Sorry, I should written here the weight, and this should be the mass. So what is the unit here? It is a kg, and this is the Newton. Okay, so does mass depend on gravitational strength? No. And what about weight? It depends on. So what is the formula of this weight? It is the mass multiplied with the gravitational field strength, so which is called the g. So from this, is it clear that why weight is called vector quantity? Because it is dependent on g. If I am going on the Mars or Earth, if g is changing from the Earth, okay, like suppose on the moon, if the g moon is g upon sixth part of the Earth, so basically your weight will be 1/6. So if you are 60 kg on the Earth, 60 Newton, it will be just 60 divided by 6, just 10 Newton, because this is just defined as force. okay, but mass never change. Whatever mass is there, it will be the same mass. So that's why the mass is called as scalar quantity. So I hope with this simplification it will be clear to understand better what is the vector quantity and scalar quantity. In further video, I'll talk about how to find the uniform speed, how to find the uniform velocity from the graphs. If you like this video, you can share it to your friend. If you don't like, please tell me how I can improve my video content. Thank you so much. Thank